Welcome to the Transformers Breakdown, episode 30 in season 2, Child's Play. Now this, I did a little research, has nothing to do with the Child's Play movie that came out in 1988, because this episode was aired in 1985, so it is not inspired by that horror movie. In this particular episode, the Decepticons and the Autobots are fighting. The Autobots and some of the Decepticons get sent to another planet by a mistake of their warp portal thing, and this giant boy, because the Autobots are like tiny, he basically handles them, and then they work with the boy, and then they go back to Earth. And so let's get started. So, one of the things that caught my mind was that there were 3 red guys, and I've talked about the color red and how it is about judgment, but this totally throws off my whole theory, because you've got Perceptor, who is a scientist, who happens to be red, and you have Inferno, who is somewhat of a fighter, but he's also a rescuer, who happens to be red, and then you have Ironhide, who is also red, but he is totally a fighter and a warrior. So that theory is thrown out the door. The whole color theory, what does it mean? Is it red? What is it? White? What's the situation? So there's a Jack-in-the-Box in the thing. Starscream fights with it. That I thought it was kind of funny. Poor Ravage. He gets scared. The whole time. Like there's this is like Ravage's traumatic experience. Like he gets attacked by something and then something else, and he's totally scared and he gets trapped. And when did Soundwave become red? Right there. This is where Soundwave becomes red. That's one of the first glitches that we see in this episode. But there's a lot more. And how did... So in this particular episode, Soundwave, Thrust, Starscream, and Ravage get sent to that planet, right? Starscream. Not Thundercracker, but we see Skywarp, in this episode. So glitch, coloration, come on, let's Starscream. He's one of the main guys. Let's get it together, And these aliens, they don't have pupils. They just don't have pupils. I don't know if they forgot to draw pupils or they wanted to make them extra scary or what the situation was. They didn't seem that scary, but they don't have pupils. And again with the Skywarp, it's like it flops back and forth between Starscream and Skywarp and later Thundercracker. So then this episode is, I think it's also back in the day, they had me dissect a frog and I hated it. And I know that it's been a controversy in a lot of elementary schools and high schools where kids do not want to dissect animals. So I think this particular episode is amazing, where the guys were about to dissect the robots to find out what they're made out of, these like officials. And so this episode addresses the whole concept of dissection and how it's bad, I think. I mean, if you want to dissect, that's your prerogative with whatever. But personally, I don't like it. So why is Ravage running in the air? I'm going to show a couple shots here, but Ravage is running in the air. Yes, Ravage, you can just fly. You don't need to run. There's, come on. Maybe because he's scared. Then there's a point where Soundwave is fighting with Perceptor, and Perceptor goes, "The pen is mightier than the staff." But Perceptor, you're holding a pencil. I don't know if anybody taught you the difference between a pen and a pencil, but that was a pencil, and that's why it broke. And then there's Thundercracker. Like all of a sudden it was Thundercracker. First it was Starscream, then it was Skywarp, now it's Thundercracker. I'm confused. And Aaron, there's a super glitch in this one where Aaron loses his head. I was like, oh my gosh, this is kind of scary. So again with the Thundercracker, come on, let's get it together, Transformer people. And look at how they enter the spaceship. I thought that was really hilarious. I was like, look how they're entering into the spaceship. Look at Nitro, and Nitro seems to be part of the ship, because this is a super glitch. Like, it just goes on, and nobody just sat there and be like, hey, I think he's drawn incorrectly, And so then Aaron waves goodbye, and this is how the episode ends. And you can find these on the Netflix Transformer Generation 1. And that's where they are, because in the YouTube you cannot find them, the glitches, or maybe you can, but in the YouTube versions they haven't changed and benefited or altered. Alright, comment, rate, subscribe, and watch some other episodes. Hasta luego con Lelo until other one.